to the May 26, 2022 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop meeting. If you would please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's been a while since that has been quite so robust. That was nice. All right.
It was robust, wasn't it?
Yes, so I do call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. and at this time I'll open up the floor to public comments. All right, seeing none and hearing none, we'll move on then to agenda item number 3, which is adoption of ordinance number 2022-1 regarding authorize and direct the incurring of non-electoral debt through the issuance of general obligation bonds. And I will call on Dana Best and company to address this item. And commissioners, please note this is action requested.
Thank you. We had the bond sale yesterday, and I will turn it over to Brad and Tim to talk about the details.
Again, good to see everybody. Thank you again. I'm Brad Reimbursement with PFM. Would you like me to? So yesterday we conducted the auction for the new money for the projects that you're contemplating. Before I get into the results, I want to thank the commissioners for, I know you've been very attentive to this matter over the last several months. Thank you very much for your attention and guidance through this as well. I want to thank staff too. Stacy, Ron, Dana did a great job with the rating process, gathering all the information. So I want to give them kudos. They really represented the county very well as they're going through these bond issues. It's not a simple thing. It takes time and takes professionalism. And they represented the county very well throughout the whole process. And your legal team, thanks to Keith for all his review, as well as Tim and Donna and McNeese as well. We appreciate the legal teams, again, professionalism, review of the documents. Did another fantastic job for the county. So yesterday we conducted the auction around noon time is when it started. We were anticipating, because of your AAA rating and the fact the way you structured the bonds, we were hopeful to get a lot of attention. Things have been, as you can imagine, quite tumultuous in the market over the beginning of this year. But because of your AAA rating, which was affirmed, because of the structure of your bond, we saw 7 underwriters or bidders participate in the auction. Melissa and I chatted about it in the morning. We were hopeful for 5. We were expecting 3 to 4, hopeful for 5, but we got 7, which shows another testament to the county for your rating and the fact that, if you read your report, it reads quite well. So we had people show up. The other thing is, I'll get to this, and I think some of you have hard copies in front of you as well. Page 2 is the interest rate chart. It quite frankly demonstrates that we've seen rates going up. But really, as we got into Friday, the end of last week, and the first couple of days this week, rates kind of settled in and even came down. So that's why we really wanted to jump in and take advantage of that. We don't know where things are going for the rest of the year. We just don't. But we knew we were in a hot market yesterday. So that kind of wanted us to continue to proceed. Page 3 is a summary of the bids. And these are the 7 bidders that I mentioned. You can see that the number 1 or lowest interest rate bid was for Jane Montgomery Scott, which Melissa reminded me that was who the successful bidder was on your last bond issue 4 years ago. And then you'll see they're ranked 1 through 7. What's interesting to me on this page, as much as anything else, in column 2, the true interest cost, which are the interest rates and the costs associated with the underwriting, are so close between 1st and 7th place. That just kind of shows us that, we had a little bit of a calmer market, and also people were really kind of honed in on you as a credit. And it was very close, that auction. So, but anyway, so the proposal that was the lowest rate and the one that we would recommend if the commissioners want to go forward would be Johnny Montgomery Scott. We did include in here on the next page kind of a chronology of the bids. Remember how the auction works. It's a bidder can submit a bid, and if they are alerted not what their rate is, or they don't know what the other bidders are bidding, but they know whether or not they're leading. So to the extent they want to improve it, they have the opportunity to improve it. So during the course of the auction, there were some improvements. These 7 firms actually submitted, I think, 23 bids over that period of time. So that was kind of how that works, just as to let everybody know how the auction works as a friendly reminder. We did include in the packet here the credit rating report, but again, affirms your AAA rating. And I think everybody knows this, but AAA is the highest rating that you can have, which is fantastic. And again, in markets like this, that AAA is invaluable. That is just a super thing to be able to lean upon, which is again why not only the hot market but we felt.
And it's not just in terms of rate, but it's in terms of how many people will participate.
So now flipping through, I mean, take your time to read that report at your convenience. It's pretty detailed. But page 12 kind of is the summary of the plan as it stands today. Page 12 has the yellow color in it for those of you who have a clean copy. The first column, column 1, are the payments associated that are locked in with your, if you approve the ordinance today, these would be the payments that are locked in for the first $15 million. Very similar to what we showed you 3 weeks ago. So it's about the same, just a little over $1,050,000 or so thousand a year. Is the payments over 20 years of a small interest payment this year. Column 2 is what is estimated, what you may do next year or in the subsequent year to fully fund the projects. Well, we're still fine tuning that with the team here to figure out what it is that we may need, but we want to give you the complete picture of what that may look like. But column 2 is not locked in yet. Just column 1 would be today. And then column 3 is just the column 3 and then 8, I should say, is kind of would be where your total. We did include, for those of us that care about all the intimate details, the debt service schedule, as well as the sources of the fund. You will notice that the par amount of the bonds that Tim will go over with the ordinance is $14,395,000. But because of the way the bid was received, and premium was bid for this, you are going to see after closing costs just over $15 million in your construction fund to do projects, but we sized it. So with that, and then we have there's some other PPs in here again, more for Stacy, Don, Ron, and I, but your overall debt. But we were very pleased. I think when we went into the auction, though I was thinking about as I drove over, we would have been satisfied, I'll call it, with a sub 4%. We would have been very happy at a 375, but at 360, we're super happy. We were very, very happy. Again, if it was something higher than 4, probably Melissa would be here. Brad. But we were very, very pleased with the participation, and we would recommend that you move ahead with it for the Janny proposal if you want to move forward.
Brad, question for you. Since you mentioned particularly the rate and favorable rate that we got as a result, especially of a lot of extra participants. Is there any way to reasonably easily translate that into what the bottom line impact was, say, between what the original bid was and where we ended up?
So the original bid was about the 375. I think that was the first bid, and we got to 360 at the end. The value of a basis point, I'm going to guess, is around $15,000.
Yeah.
Probably about $15,000. So we'll call it conservatively 150 to 200,000 was the improvement.
Great.
From the first bid till the ultimate winner.
So 15,000 per basis.
That's about right. Yeah.
Okay, good. No, that's very helpful to know. Appreciate that. I'll just mention it. You've been very generous with your praise of our staff, but it's the partnership that, once again, we really appreciate what Vietnam brings to the table, as well as the legal counsel. So this has worked very well for the county and the taxpayers certainly benefited from the relationship we forged there over the years. So we really appreciate your role and attention to detail and how this unfolds each time.
Very kind comments. So thank you.
And you keep teasing Melissa, but I'd like to steal her.
Yeah, okay.
I think Stacy would too.
No, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Brad would be so sad.
I would.
Just remember next time you ask for a raise to bring that up.
Oh, might have to talk this afternoon.
We have a really good benefits package here.
I enjoy our partnership with the county and being able to serve you as financial advisor.
And as a resident.
And as a resident, it's extra special.
One other question real quick. The So one of the comments that was made yesterday, I found interesting, was that if we were say AA plus, anything but AAA, there's a possibility that the auction would not occur.
Oh, yeah.
AA plus is still a very good rating.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you might have seen yourself wind up with the first bid you got versus where you ultimately wound up, if you follow what I'm saying. So there's
I do.
real dollar value to that, but also, as Melissa commented, people showing up.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you a sense of how the market was last. You know, from my perspective as somebody who's, you know, sitting in the seat, doing the numbers, dealing with the auction outcome. You know, last week we had a couple and it was very nail biter, you know, it was how is the market gonna be next week? Should we proceed? You know, Friday opened up and it was like a new day. It's like, oh, obviously we're gonna proceed. Yes, this is what makes sense. You know, if this week had been last week, might have been a totally different set of facts.
It's a good reminder, we are at the mercy of Mr. Market.
We are,
So,
and that's what makes, you know, the flexibility that you all have so important. 'Cause-
one other question I have is there's, granted, as I get older, my memory's not what it was, but these appear to be a lot of new bidders that I've not seen before. Now you guys are in this realm all the time, so.
In
Are-
fact, one of them has only bid twice in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yes, Baker Group.
Yeah, that one baffled us right out of the box.
They are out of Oklahoma and they win a lot in the Midwest.
Okay.
They're just into PA.
Uh-huh.
They had a lot of questions yesterday about the county, and they asked for a bunch of information, which obviously we provided to them, so they would come and bid. But that was a new one for sure.
So we'll see them again, probably. They sound like they're rising.
I don't know. We've seen them twice in 2 weeks
Yeah.
and never before.
Well, more bidders is good news for us. So
More bidders is good news. And that's something we've been seeing in the Pennsylvania market over the last year or so is some new faces. Key Bank is one who's been really active over the last year, but hadn't been previously. And then there's another kind of new bidder that wasn't here to play today. But Mesero sometimes is a new face.
It
You
is,
know, not everybody bids every day.
sure. It is interesting that it seems to be the old stalwarts who are the most competitive, though. So,
Especially, I mean, I think that
Jenny
Jenny,
especially.
and you were talking about earlier, I think they really value the county. I mean, I think they have a Pennsylvania presence, they have a county
Right.
presence. So I think they really step up because I think that their customers
Yeah.
know the name.
And Jenny's strategy is all around retail, meaning folks like you and I buying for our retirement. So a place like Cumberland County, where you have a lot of folks that you can sell retail to, you know, that really gives you an advantage as compared to like some of the other ones that sell more to funds. Now, Jenny sells to funds too, but
They really know but they know who Cumberland County is. They don't just look at the rating. You know what I mean? A lot of people just look at the rating. I think they know who Cumberland County is.
last question. So with the reaffirmation, you received, how many AAAs are there in Pennsylvania or in the Northeast, or any other comparative information you have?
in Pennsylvania, there's, I would
25?
I would say it's between 30 and 40.
Okay.
By the time you get the counties and the school districts and the
okay.
townships.
Let's say county governments solely.
Oh,
County and the Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, Cumberland, and there.
yeah, because
Seems like we've always heard numbers between 2 and 4, and of course, it's always changing, but it's always good to know where we're standing.
That's what off the top of my head, I think those are the ones, Bucks County, my client, I know they're AAA.
yeah, and Delaware's not.
Delaware's not.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not, what, there's 67 counties,
Yes.
Yeah.
so you're still, that's the
Yeah.
elite group.
It's good to know. Thank you.
I would say it's less than 40 overall and less than 5 counties.
Well,
It's most in townships.
Okay.
Um,
Are they geographically centered in anywhere particular?
predominantly in southeast Pennsylvania, but also some of the, more affluent Pittsburgh suburbs.
Okay. That's very helpful. Good information. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
With that, I'll turn it over to
Brad, this
Tim.
is Vince. How are you today?
Yes. Good, Vince, how are you?
All right. Hey, staff was able to email me all the documents you were reviewing. And I just have one simple question. It appears after the first year's partial payment that our yearly payment, principal and interest will be a little over $1 million per year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And that's what I think we had projected.
Yeah.
Commissioner, about 3 weeks ago, so it came in there.
All right. Very good. That's all the questions I have. And thank you very much for your service here.
Commissioner.
This is an action question.
Okay, I didn't know if you had anything more on that or not. Okay, so we are seeking action on this today to get this implemented. So I'll entertain a motion in this regard.
So I will move to authorize and direct the incurring of non-electoral debt through the issuance of general obligation bonds.
A second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. And that's unanimous. Very good. That motion passes. Thank you.
Just for the record, that was for the adoption of the ordinance.
The adoption of the ordinance.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks.
Good point.
Just want to clarify.
Thank you for that. Okay. Is that's the only action item required on this today, correct? Okay, very good. All right.
All right, well, thank you. I just want to say this was my first bond. And thank you for all of the extra information along the way. It was very helpful.
Thank you very much
Yeah.
for all your help.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on then. It doesn't look like Lucy Wynn has arrived. So we'll move on to agenda item number 5. And we'll be back.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Good holiday weekend.
You too.
Okay.
So agenda item number 5 is discussion of the 2022-2023 fiscal budget, and Dana Best is here.
We're requesting the approval of budgets on Tuesday, and it is just under a $60 million expense and revenue budget that is funded by about 80% grants and 12% county subsidy.
Any questions?
Questions?
All right, thank you, Dana.
You're welcome.
Agenda item number 6 is contracts and grants, and I'll turn the meeting over to Tammy Hershey. Tammy?
Thank you, Stacy. Agenda item number 6, numeral 1 is existing contracts, contract extensions, or addenda with no additional cost or increase to the county. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the agreement for children and youth services?
No.
Hearing none, we will move on to agenda item number 6, numeral 2, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services grants, and contracts with increases or decreases to the county. I'll begin by calling on Christine Bowden to discuss the contracts for aging and community services. Christine?
Good morning, Commissioners. I have several contracts to discuss. The first one is Watch Over Us Home Care. This is a new provider to provide us with personal care services, as we are still trying to find providers that have workers to be able to serve our aging community. The second contract is for Virginia Monstead, who is a contractor through the ADRC, and we are requesting a 2% increase in her salary for this fiscal year. The next contracts are for our senior centers, which are Meadow Haven, Messiah, which has 2 locations, the West Shore and Mechanicsburg, and Big Springs. The state has granted them granted them $4,752 to cover some of their COVID expenditures, and we're requesting approval for that grant. The next contract is for Safe Harbor and for the Carlisle Cares, Community Cares Act, Community Cares. And both of them are receiving an increase in their contracts for homeless and emergency services due to the costs they have had over the year. And we'll also want to increase Maranatha's contract for their operating expenses for the year.
Are there any questions for Christine?
No.
All right, thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Next, I will call on Jamie Ryber to discuss the contract for children and youth. Jamie?
Good morning, Commissioners. This contract is with Avanco International Incorporated. This is the company that handles our state system that has been approved by the state. They are increasing their, hosting fees from $40,544.48 to $43,382.59 for this coming fiscal year. And they are decreasing their CWIS costs, $33,116.15. These costs are all shared through the other 56 counties that have this program. So this is just our portion of those fees.
Questions for Jamie?
Nope.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Next, I will call on Holly Sherman to discuss the contract for human resources.
Hi, I'm Holly Sherman.
Able to make it more time to address this.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you might know, IT staff typically do a lot of training in technical areas. And so we like to shift gears a little bit and focus on some softer skills. So today we're proposing a engagement with Deering Consulting, who is our consultant for our Leadership Essentials program. And so they're interested in building out the service focused component of our core competency and helping IMTO specifically address some things like effective communication and good customer service. So we're looking to addendum to the existing contract of Holly's contract and the amount of $16,430 for that training.
Questions?
And I'll just note that the goal is eventually to then expand that and apply that to other departments as well, with IMTO serving as sort of the guinea pig, if you will.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I will now call on Sue Carbo to discuss the contracts for MHIDD. Sue available? Here she is. Hi, Sue.
Good morning. Well, I invite you all to get a cup of coffee and settle back because this is quite a long list. I will say that they are all early intervention contracts this time. They are the new contracts for fiscal year 22-23. There is one amendment for this current fiscal year stuck in here, so I will point that out when we get to it. We'll try to cover it as quick as I can. The amounts that I'm going to give you are the starting points for the contract. There may be amendments needed as the fiscal year 22-23 progresses and the services increase for each individual provider. So these are the starting amounts for each one. So let's begin. So for aspirations, it is a renewal contract for fiscal year 22-23. The amount will be $248,718. Next one, behavior by design, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $2,000. Jill Bricker is a renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $92,072. Building blocks therapy is a renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $90,223. Central PA Therapy Connections, it's a renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $19,108. Connections, Early Intervention and Supports, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $55,814. Nicole Custer is a renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $21,328. Early Bird Therapy as a renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $236,272. The next contract for early intervention specialist is the amendment for fiscal year 21-22. It's an increase of $8,218 to finish out this fiscal year. Then we have early intervention specialist again, which is the renewal for fiscal year 22-23. The amount will be $82,988. Feeding Little Bellies is a renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $44,285. Joanna Carnes, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $4,862. Living Unlimited, a renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $1,000. Matico Pediatric Therapies, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $9,003. Joanne Peters, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $4,764. Pediatric Therapy Specialist of South Central PA, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $65,715. Kimberly Snowden, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $55,944. Jennifer Snyder, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $25,175. Shannon Sweeney, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $1,000. Chauvelin Therapy Services, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $5,594. Sylvia Therapy, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $130,629. TMB Developmental Therapy and Infant Massage, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $27,517. And Barbara Weber, renewal for fiscal year 22-23, $7,811. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. So there are 23 total contracts here, Sue.
That is correct.
Of which, if I counted correctly, all but 5 of them show decreases in the dollar amounts. Are we seeing a decrease in services?
We are not, but the services are spread out over so many providers now, because we have to have providers that are willing to begin services within 14 days of writing the plan. So we have to have quite an array of providers who are able to go out and start working with the children. So we are not seeing a decrease in services. You will see these contracts go up as the year progresses. We have amendments all the time as these providers are able to accept more children.
Okay,
Does that
thank
make
you.
sense, what I'm saying?
It does, Sue. Yes, it seems like it's a combination of things. One being a spreading of services amongst everyone, and the other being that as they can accept more kids, the amount of the contract will go up. I'm going to assume they can't accept more kids right now because of issues with finding employees.
With what?
Is the reason for, I'm going to assume that they can't accept as many children right now because they're struggling to find employees.
Some are having staffing issues, and others are just, they're booked up and they just can't accept the children.
Okay, thank you, Sue.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Yes.
So one other question. So I don't recall ever having this many at one time on these. And of course, you've told us before about the increased requirements of and now, of course, with the rapid turnaround requirement as well, 14 days. So is this a reflection of the increased demand and requirements on the providers for the EI service? Or is that just
yeah, so what happens if we don't hit the 14 days in getting the children the service that they need? We are we get a ding against us as far as the state goes, that we didn't meet that goal. So it's like we have to bring on more providers. Now, I'm very particular about that. I don't want to just bring on every provider, but speech therapy, for example, is one therapy that a lot of the children need. And so we have to always be looking for new speech therapists to join us and help provide the services, because we just can't meet the demand for speech therapy. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. That's
Okay.
very helpful. Thank you.
Anything else for Sue?
But nothing.
Thank you, Sue. Oh, Vince, did you have a question?
No,
A little delayed. Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
Next, I will call on Elizabeth Grant to discuss the contract for planning.
Good morning.
Elizabeth.
Good morning. I have before you a contract for $60,000 with Dickinson Township. Lori Glaze from the Conservation District is supporting implementation of this project, and it is funded by the Countywide Action Plan Implementation Grant from Department of Environmental Protection. And it is for stream bank stabilization and end stream structures at the Yellow Breeches Creek at Stewart Park at Barnett's Mill. And it's also for invasives management and establishment of additional riparian buffer.
Any questions for Elizabeth?
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
I will now call on Justin Miller to discuss the grant for recycling and waste. Justin?
Good morning. So this is the standard post-event paperwork for our April 14th Household Hazardous Waste event. First form that needs your signature is called the Record of Operations Report. And that just shows how many people we had and how much material we collected and the different types. We had 293 people drop off 32,248 pounds of material. Once again, dominated by paint products. I think 70% of the weight was paint. The second form is the application for reimbursement. Our total eligible costs for the event were $26,955.03. We collected $13,580.92 in fees from users. And then the state will either reimburse us 50% of the total eligible costs or the net cost, which is the eligible cost minus the fees. They'll do the lesser of the two. In this case, the net cost was just slightly less than 50% of the cost. So we are asking for $13,374.11 from the state.
Questions for Justin? I don't believe. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Nice background.
Thank you.
Well, that concludes the contracts and grants. I will now turn the meeting back over to Stacy.
Thank you. Could you check this in Lucy minutes?
I certainly will.
All right, so agenda item number 7 is discussion of Cumberland County Local Emergency Planning Committee appointment recommendation. And I'll ask Commissioner Fauci to discuss. And I would like to point out that this is an action requested item today.
Okay, so the Cumberland County Local Emergency Planning Committee has an appointment recommendation for William Scott Shirley. And his appointment to the LEPC would be effective upon PEMA appointment through December 31 of 2026.
Are there any questions?
You're looking for action on that today. Okay. We'll entertain a motion with regards to
So I will move to approve the appointment of William Scott Shirley to the Local Emergency Planning Committee effective upon PEMA appointments through December 31 of 2026.
second.
Go second. Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion carries.
Name down.
Thank you.
Okay.
Move on then to agenda item number 8, and I'll call on Commissioner DiFilippo to discuss the appointment recommendation for the Cumberland County Aging Advisory Board. And this agenda item is also action requested today.
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. The Aging Advisory Board is recommending 2 individuals to join the board, Deb Miklo and Patty Vogel. The information is in our packets. Both individuals seem highly qualified. Both are local. One resides in Carlisle and the other in Mechanicsburg. And this would be for a 3-year term effective May 31st this year and expiring December 31st, 2024. And that's all I have.
Any questions? Vince, did you want to turn that into a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion if there's no further questions that we appoint Deb Miklo and Patty Vogel to the Aging Advisory Board for a 3-year term effective May 31st, 2022 and expiring December 31st, 2024.
I second that motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. If there's no further questions, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries.
Thank you. We'll move on then to agenda item number 9, which is capital project requests. And I'll start by calling on Carl Goshorn and Mike Lubinsky to discuss the capital project for the Conservation District.
Good morning, everyone. The Conservation District seeking approval from the commissioners to purchase a GPS total station unit. A little bit of background is about a year and a half ago, the Conservation District received over $1 million to implement ag best management practices on local farms. And in order to get those BMPs implemented, you have to do surveying and design work. So this unit will help with improve the technology. Also, it'll enable the engineers to go out on the farms and survey by themselves. Right now, you might have 2 or 3 people. You need broadman and levels and things like that. So this is an improved technology for all the work we'll be doing in the future. Projected cost is around $32,000. The best news I can give you is all the costs will be covered by the State Conservation Commission and the CEG program. They've given us approval to purchase this equipment, and it would become a county asset once we purchased it. So if you have any questions, I can try to answer it, but Mike Lubinsky, who will be using the equipment, is sitting beside me, and he's more up on the technology of this equipment.
Do you have any questions for Carl? I do not.
Oh.
Or Mike. Okay, so commissioners, if you are interested, this was an action requested item for the day.
Can we have a motion, please?
I will move to approve the Conservation District's capital project request for the Carlson GPS, which is with a total project cost of $32,088.85.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Move on to the next capital project request, which is a computer lifecycle replacement. And I'll call on Mark Adams from IMTO.
Again, every year, computer life cycle, we replace about 1/5 of our computers across the county. Normally, we do this in 2 phases, a spring and a fall. But to try to address some of the things like the supply chain issues and maybe quicker response for us to order things when they're available or more readily available to us, we'd like to do this in one shot. So we're going to ask for a capital project for life cycle for the entire year today. The entire estimated price is $130,750. General fund cost is $87,200. So a lot of this is picked up by human services funding and things like that. So,
Any questions for Mark?
No.
Right, this also is an action requested item today.
We have a motion.
Yeah.
So I will move to approve the capital project request from IMTO for the computer lifecycle project for 2022 with a total project cost of $130,750.
I'll second.
Yes. Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. Our third capital project is for MDJ Friedman's office, and I'll call on Brent Durham to discuss. Brent?
Yes, good morning, everyone. This is a capital request in the amount of $100,000. The money will be used for renovation and relocation of MDJ Friedman's court facility. The lease agreement for the new location will be presented to you at the next workshop. The proposed renovations will include some new walls, tearing out of some old walls, building a new courtroom, bench, some new flooring, lighting, security, break room, sound control, holding cell, engineering permits, inspections, etc. We look very closely at the AOPC facilities, facility equipment and security guidelines booklet that they put out for magisterial district courts. And we've been able to incorporate many of the suggestions from this booklet in the design of this new space. There are many security enhancements in this design, enhancements for public area, for private area, for the secured area, of which I'll compare and explain in more detail when I bring forth the lease agreement.
Any questions for Brent?
Is it okay to move forward on this without the lease agreement?
Yes, this is the capital project approval, and then the contract will come, like Brent said, at the next workshop for approval.
All right, just wanted to confirm that.
Mhm.
Well, then I'll make a motion to approve the request regarding renovations to MDJ Friedman's office located at 471 Village Drive. Total project cost of $100,000.
I second that motion.
Excuse me one second. It's 417 Village Drive, not 471.
Let's not renovate the wrong address.
Yeah, that could be a
Yeah.
Thank you, Brent.
I'll amend my motion. I'll amend my motion that we approve the capital request to renovate MDJ Friedman's office at 417 Village Drive at a total project cost of $100,000.
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Thanks for the correction. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, go forth and renovate.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we'll move on then to agenda item number 10, which is Commissioner's Liaison Reports. And I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, a couple of items. Of course, Cumberland Area Economic Development Corporation, everybody was in attendance at the board meeting, so I think there's nothing really pressing there other than we did get final approval this week to Cumberland participating in the CEDS program. I think it stands for Coordinated Economic Development Strategies. It's a regional plan. They're trying to roll these out across the state. And we obviously want to participate in that. It's going to play a key role in our ability to secure state funds for particularly workforce development, where there's a lot of prioritization right now and where Cumberland has taken a leadership role in the future. So that's going to move forward very shortly. And Janet is our new economic development director, is right on top of that issue and ready to jump in and participate on that. There's a lot of details to work out on that in terms of funding allocations and such. So we'll be right in the mix of things there. So that's proceeding, and that will, I believe, it's going to happen pretty quickly. So just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. On other items, let's see here. We have that's good news. We'll put the good news for last. So Justin sent me an update as well about the, of course, he spoke to us today about the recent household hazardous waste event. The next one is scheduled for Saturday, June 4th, just a reminder, and you can go on the website and pre-register for that. Again, a lot of participation in that, and a great service that we offer, and apparently is very appreciated by citizens. So we're going to keep that up. The authority, Recycling Authority has finished reviewing the proposed waste management plan section by section over the last 3 board meetings. The June meeting will be the final review of it in totality. And then it's going to be sent to municipalities as well as to us, the commissioners, for a 30-day period for review and comment before it is submitted to the comment. So we'll be looking for that in I believe second half of the month. So he also mentioned to me that the proposal for a renewable natural gas facility at the landfill in Hopewell, it continues to move forward. There was a presentation at that meeting regarding that. That's essentially a methane capture system used to produce energy from the landfill. They are seeking feedback from the county. The township would like the county to comment on that. And the authority board made a motion encouraging the township to give the project serious consideration. So we're going to be hearing more about that in the near term. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about that from the public in general and the township in particular. So also on, let's see, the mental health side of things, Annie sent me a note. I was not aware of this. I don't know if I missed it or it was just a recent development, but there is a virtual budget roundtable meeting that is scheduled for this morning. That's going to involve, it's apparently under the auspices of CCAP. I'm going to try to participate in that, but on short notice, I may not be able to do that, but I'm pretty sure Annie's planning on participating in that. And that is a virtual legislative roundtable, begins at 10:30, and that is to highlight the funding requests and needs. And it mentions certain key legislators, is how she characterizes it. We'll be meeting with county representatives. I don't know who those legislators are or which county representatives just yet, but I'm going to try to get some detail on that. We obviously would like to participate in that, as we and CCAP have identified it as a big priority issue. You'll recall just recently the county commissioners passed a resolution regarding funding needs with considerable urgency, and participated in CCAP's collective action to raise the profile on that issue with the state legislature. That is later this morning. So she has also shared that with the MHID advisory board and other community stakeholders to try to encourage participation there. So I'm sure we're going to have the county well represented. The current budget projections, as a reminder, for the MH budget are approximately $600,000 in the red for the current fiscal year. Also, this week, the MH office is providing 40 hours of crisis intervention training for our county law enforcement officers, a continuation of an important effort that's been underway for some time now. The MH office is working on a project for Suicide Prevention Month, which is slated for September, and they're going to be hosting the movie My Ascension to provide community suicide prevention education, and there'll be a panel presentation to follow. There'll be more information forthcoming on that in the near future. So we'll sure to update everyone on that. In a similar vein, Project Search graduation is scheduled for June 1 at 5:30. The program, of course, for the county has been an early and regular participant in that as an effort to find meaningful training and therefore permanent, semi-permanent employment opportunities for mental health consumers, IDD consumers. And of course, we've hosted in our own office and other offices here several participants. And I would just mention the county has benefited considerably from the assistance of those class participants. And that's been a nice win-win program all around for the community, in my opinion. There are 6 graduates this year. The success rate for finding competitive jobs in the community for each of the interns over the past 5 years, hard to believe we've been doing this for 5 years now, but the success rate is 82%. That's something to be proud of. So Sue spends all of her thanks to the commissioners for supporting the Project Search program. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Fauci.
Well, good morning, everyone. So the most exciting thing that I did here in the past couple of weeks since the last meeting is I was really quite honored to be included in the celebration at the state capitol, where 4 Cumberland County employees were recognized with the 25-year Star of Life Award from the Emergency Health Services Federation for 25+ years of service in EMS. So congratulations to our Cumberland County employees, Joel Griffey, Bill Bowen, John Quirk, and Steve Overmiller. What an incredible accomplishment. I think there were 124 recipients. It really was quite a fabulous event, and our own Ben Berner took some fabulous photos, and you can find those on social media, but Ben really takes nice pictures. Thank you. Thanks for being there, Ben. It was good. So, but really exciting for Cumberland County, speaks volumes for the quality of our public service professionals. I was really quite tickled to be there. It was good. So something else very exciting going on. The Cumberland County Library System has put together we're going to call it a hiking program for the summer, but it's really a learning program, part of their summer programming for children. It is called the Go Cumberland Challenge. So you can go to any one of our libraries and you can pick up your Go Cumberland Challenge booklet. So throughout the summer, you'll go hiking at local trails, and while you're hiking, you're going to look for the secret code. You're going to enter the secret code, and then you will, of course, be entered to win prizes. But one of those places where you can go hiking is the Vince D. Filippo Nature Preserve in Silver Spring Township, and you can pick up your secret code there. So I think that's super fantastic too. What a great way to put lots of good things together, lots of good relationships going on there. And then finally, of course, our planning commission met, and there are just so many exciting things going on in Cumberland County in terms of planning. Silver Spring Township, there was an ag security area review, and that was approved with staff comments. Also in Silver Spring Township, there was a 7-year review, and that was approved with staff comments. In Lower Mifflin Township, we had another ASA review of the class property that was approved with staff comments. In Middlesex Township, there was a rezoning from light industrial to village center, also approved. Middlesex Township, there was a reclassification, and it's a future land use map from industrial to mixed use, approved. Lower Mifflin Township, we had a landowner curative amendment to rezone from residential to agricultural. That was approved. And then Steve Hoffman noted that there were 16 subdivision and land development plans in April, of which he noted 2. So there's the Arcona Phase 8.2 in Lower Allen Township that's going to bring a proposed 56 single family and 88 townhomes, and Silver Creek Farm Phase 2 in Silver Spring Township, which will bring a proposed 46 single family homes. And that is what I had today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DiFilippo.
Yes, thank you. Conservation District met earlier this week, and we were notified that the EPA may be completing or being a part of inspections in what's called concentrated animal feeding operations, also known as CAFOs. Cumberland has 11 of such permitted farms, and the EPA is stating that Pennsylvania in general, not just Cumberland County, quote, isn't doing enough to clean up the bay with the water improvement plan that we have. So also the Conservation District approved the Yellow Breeches Anglers and Conservationists as our Conservation Organization of the Year. And Jenna McIntyre, she is a teacher at Big Spring Middle School as Educator of the Year. Laurie Glace presented pictures and descriptions of the stream bank restoration work and fish enhancement structures that are completed now on the Yellow Breeches Creek near Allenbury. Let's see, there was a meeting, the nutrient management delegation agreement ends June 30th of this year, and our gang is proposing a 5-year agreement, and that was presented to the State Conservation Commission for approval, but is tabled until July, so discussions are moving on with that. Next, we have a report on the Blighted Property Reinvestment Board, met on May the 12th. Just some recaps here. In Silver Spring Township, 535 Hoagstown Road and 6588 Carlisle Pike have been voluntarily cleaned up by their owners. 45 Creekside Drive in Enola has been sold to a new owner who is would like to have the property demolished. 25 Penny Lane in Enola has been entered into the blight process. Owner also wants to demolish the property. 420 Bosler Avenue is going to be potentially acquired, as will 318 4th Street, Summerdale. And that's all I have for the official reports. I do want to just note that I attended a ribbon cutting over at the Stover Farm for the Destiny Dairy Bar a couple of weeks ago. It was quite a well-attended event. And Dave Smith from the PA Dairymen's Association happened to be there as well and was part of the festivities. So that was good to see. And also just on the municipal advisory board meeting that was earlier this week, I thought that was one of our better meetings, and hopefully lots of good things will come from that. And that's all I have, Stacy.
Thank you, Commissioner. I would like to report that on May 25th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m., we had an executive session regarding personnel. Is there any additional business to come before the board? And I just remembered, yes, we do have agenda item number 4. Bridget, can you just poke your head out in the hallway? Oh. Sure, I'm not sure where Tammy went. And do you mind checking in the office and see if you?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I know we're coordinating like an imminent arrival, right? Isn't that how it goes? Yes.
Anything?
Okay, well, we will reach out to Ms. Wynn, and as you may know, for anybody that doesn't know, the individual who is appointed as the American Honey Queen is required to travel the country promoting honeybees and the use of honey, so on and so forth. So perhaps her schedule changed and she wasn't able to let us know. So we will, I guess, do we need to
We have
formally
it as an
table?
agenda item, so we can either table or we can read it into the record so it meets compliance. I'm going to provide it to her at another time.
Correct, either one.
Yeah, so if you would like to have an opportunity for her to come in at a later date, we could certainly table it. If you'd like to read it, we could certainly mail it to her, whichever you.
It's the preference of the board.
I'd
Prefer
like to
to-
table.
I'd like to table as well. In fact,
Okay.
I'll make the motion that we table item 4.
I will second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And the item is tabled for later consideration.
So I will ask again if there's any other business to come before the board today. And hearing none, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
See you folks Tuesday. Have a good weekend.